Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I have another I have some dirty ice and another one of my 250 philosophical questions, which is, what can kids learn from adults? And I'm going to have myself a ginger beer, take some vitamins, and we're going to talk about it. I'm a food blogger, and so I drink in these videos in order to use up my stock, because, it's like, if I have alcohol sitting around, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to write more reviews of alcohol. I don't entertain, so I shouldn't be keeping a large amount of alcohol, although I certainly should have a buy list for regular cocktails I make. And as for the vitamins, I need a lot of the particular supplement at the moment, or at least theoretically, and they're outdated anyway, so they probably aren't doing anything. Anyway, for every 1,000 subscribers I get, I do purchase one of these bracelets from 4Ocean. 4Ocean then pulls a pound of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. If you would be so kind as to comment, like, and subscribe, you'd be doing your part for a better world, for free. Anyway. Children learn everything from adults, pretty much. That's the whole thing. I mean, somewhere along the lines I have a quote where somebody said something like, "Don't concern yourself so much with what children say, but with the fact that they're always listening." One of those things, I'm going to paraphrase here because he was quite vulgar, but one of those things that my old man used to say was that his sister banged a drunk and she got a drunk, referring to her son, my cousin, who died in a car accident. He was not driving. Okay, he did have a problem with drugs. And, I was never close with any member of my family. So I can't say, dude was a construction worker. He was hard-working, but he also had his vices. I think he once set his brother's apartment on fire because he fell asleep with a cigarette in his mouth. Man drank nothing but beer. I don't know why that was why he was. You do have to remember that he is a member of my family, and my family sucks. No, you don't understand. I had to stop talking to my grandmother. She said some things to me that it was like, if this woman keeps talking, I'm going to punch her in the face. And she's an old lady, so I'm not going to punch her in the face. So I've got to leave. And I never spoke to her again. For the last 10 years of her life, I never spoke to my grandmother. The day she died, my brother came up to me and he said, my dream of grandma being 100 years old and in her own house is not going to happen. I said, why is that? He goes, because she's dead. And I honestly couldn't feel anything. It was like, okay. Woman didn't care about me. I honestly don't feel that she did. Well, she had a hierarchy of caring. What was most important to her was my father. And, her darling boy was always right. My father didn't care for me much. Felt I was the root of all of his problems. Because I didn't get along with my father, I didn't get along with my grandmother. It happens. So what do you do about it? Well, you just kind of got to live your life. I'm looking at my cat on the floor, by the way. Making sure she's still breathing. She's not been feeling well lately, so a little worried about her. She wouldn't be sleeping in this room if I weren't worried about her. Okay? She's here to be isolated from the other cats because they bully her too much. So I think that's why she's not feeling well. Anyway, so moving forward, what can children learn from adults? Well, I mean, from my father, I learned to be a hard person. I learned to be self-conscious, and I learned to be hyper-independent. I remember my father once gave me a check for $200. $200 was a lot of money back then. Well, no, it wasn't. Wasn't even books for one semester, as I recall, but he gave me $200 and I gave it back to him because the man caused so much trouble every time he gave me something that it was never worth the price of whatever it was he gave me. So, you know, we as children learn everything from adults. It's just part of our makeup. You could say that we learn from other children, but learning from other children means that you've learned, though, where did those children get it? From adults. And, you know, in our world we have what's referred to as an adultified child. This is not a man-child. That was what my father was. He was a man-child. He was a child who never really grew up and never wanted to take responsibility for his actions. But an adultified child, you'll find children where it's like when the electric bill comes in, they pay it. They get daddy's checkbook, and they write the check, and they say, Daddy, sign this, and Daddy puts down his beer, and he signs it, and then they mail it off. And why do they do that? Because if they don't do that, the lights get turned off, and they've learned that's how you deal with this. So yeah, look. One of the things that we should always remember is we are an example to our children. If we're the kind of person that gets drunk at parties and gets into a fight, it's more likely that some other person is going to be the person who gets drunk at parties and gets into a fight. It's like I say, you know, the more you go to the gym, the more likely you are to go to the gym. And the more you go to the gym, the more other people around you are more likely to go to the gym. I went to the gym. My sister, her husband, both went with me once. A couple times, in fact. So far as I'm aware, I mean, I haven't spoken to her I've spoken to her, but not about that. But so far as I'm aware, she still goes to the gym. Big as a cow, but goes to the gym. I have no reason to believe she stopped, although I also have no reason to believe she keeps going. So, you know, children learn from us. They learn how to be people. If we don't teach them right, they never learn. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the matter. I'd love to hear yours down in the comments below. I'm Richard. Danger Ducky says it is now time for you to comment, like, and subscribe and support this channel so we can do things like save the world by removing trash from the ocean, planting trees, and feeding orphans. Danger Ducky approves.